Overcoming mental barrier. Can the past hurt you? Sometimes we get stuck because we keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. Instead of moving past a feeling, we go around in circles and don't get anywhere. In this video, we will talk about why this happens and share some tips to help you get past these tough feelings. We talk about our feeling, but we still feel really bad about things that happened in the past. Even when we try to understand our feelings and memories, they don't go away. The more we think about them, the worse we feel. Some people believe that time makes us feel better, but people with serious anxiety or depression often feel that time doesn't help much. Now let's talk about a problem we often face. Avoiding things that bother us doesn't really solve our problems. In fact, it often makes them worse. Let me explain this with a few examples. Anxiety example. Let's say you're scared of dogs and you always stay away from them. Doing this tells your brain that avoiding dogs is the only way to stay safe. This makes your fear of dogs even stronger because your brain thinks that avoiding them is what keeps you safe. The more you stay away from what scares you, the more your fear grows. Depression example. Imagine making a mistake and then calling yourself a failure. If you keep telling yourself that, it becomes hard to learn and grow from your mistakes. You'll start feeling bad most of the time. And whenever you feel bad, you might call yourself a failure again, keeping you stuck in a cycle of sadness. PTSD example. People with PTSD often feel overwhelmed by painful memories. Trying too hard not to think about those memories can trap you in a pattern of avoidance, making the PTSD symptoms worse. The more you try to avoid these thoughts, the more panicked you might feel, and this makes the problem bigger. Remember, how we react to situations can either help us move forward or keep us stuck. Understanding mental blocks. Let's talk about mental and emotional blocks. These blocks can stop us from understanding and managing our feelings. Here are some common reasons why people might have these blocks, and some ways to work through them. Mental block 1. Not knowing what you're feeling sometimes. You might feel something strong, but you don't have a word for it. It's essential to identify and name our feelings. A useful trick to manage this is, name it to tame it. This means that giving a name to what you're feeling can help in managing the emotion better. Mental block 2. Not knowing why you're feeling that way. You might be feeling something, but you don't know why. A good way to explore your feelings is by writing about them. Writing can help you understand your emotions and why you might be feeling them. So try to explore your emotions through writing to get a clearer idea of what's causing them. Mental block 3. Not allowing yourself to feel sometimes. We don't let ourselves feel our emotions completely. We might avoid them because they make us uncomfortable or scared. But avoiding emotions doesn't solve the problem. Emotions are a way for our minds to tell us that something needs attention. So try to allow yourself to feel your emotions fully, even if they are a bit uncomfortable. Therapy can be a helpful tool in working through these blocks. A therapist can gently guide someone with anxiety to face their fears, help someone with depression manage negative thoughts, and assist someone with PTSD in processing their trauma calmly. Understanding and working through these mental blocks can be a big step towards feeling better. Dealing with unwanted emotions. The food processing analogy. Think of your mind like a food processing plant. One day you receive a delivery of a type of food that you weren't expecting or didn't want. This is similar to having unexpected or unwanted emotions arrive in your mind. You can't just ignore these foods or wish them away, much like you can't ignore or wish away your emotions. They are there, and they need to be handled or processed in some way. For the future, you might be able to plan better or make changes so that you don't receive the unwanted food. Similarly, you can learn strategies or make changes in your life to better manage unexpected emotions when they arrive. But right now, the unwanted food or emotions are there, and they need to be dealt with. Continuing with our food analogy, there are several things you could do with the unwanted food. You could donate it, compost it, or find a different recipe to use it. Likewise, with emotions, there are various ways to process them so that your mind can continue to function well. Avoiding or ignoring the unexpected food in your plant, like avoiding or ignoring your emotions, will just cause clutter and make it hard for the plant to operate smoothly. So it's essential to face and handle these unexpected emotional foods effectively to keep the processing plant of your mind running smoothly and maintain a healthy, happy life. Facing your emotions. Overcoming mental block 4. It's essential to allow yourself to feel your emotions, even if they make you uncomfortable. Emotions might be tough to deal with, but they won't harm you. However, avoiding them can cause issues. Let me explain a common but somewhat complicated mental block. Sometimes intense emotions can overwhelm us. When this happens, our bodies react strongly, making it hard to think clearly and leaving us stuck in a state of high stress. Imagine your brain needs to follow several steps to solve an emotional problem, like noticing, naming, exploring, and then acting on the emotion. Doing this helps you feel calmer. However, if we don't complete these steps, the unresolved emotions keep coming back, repeating the cycle until we find a solution. This process doesn't only apply to significant traumas or decisions, it can happen with everyday issues as well. For example, imagine you have a difficult math homework that feels overwhelming. As soon as you look at the problems, you start to feel anxious and stressed. You recognize that you're feeling this way because the homework seems hard and confusing. Instead of immediately trying to avoid the homework or the feelings, you pause for a moment. You take some time to explore why it feels so challenging. Is it because you didn't understand the class lesson? Or is it due to fear of getting a bad grade? After understanding the reason behind your emotions, you choose a way to address the issue. You might decide to ask a teacher for help, search for online resources, or ask a friend to explain the topic. Finally, you act on your decision. You ask for help, study more, or use different strategies to try and understand the homework better. By going through these steps, you allow yourself to process your feelings of overwhelm and stress, helping you manage the situation better and return to a calmer state of mind. Another stressful situation is choosing a project for a school science fair. Imagine a student, Sarah, has to pick a project to work on. There are so many choices. She could build a volcano, create a solar system, or even grow some plants. Sarah feels stressed because she wants to choose a project that is fun and will get her a good grade. She starts by looking at books and searching online for ideas. She asks her friends and family for their thoughts too. Sarah thinks about the project day and night, unsure of what to pick. After spending some time exploring ideas and talking to people, Sarah decides to build a volcano. She feels relieved and can focus on other things because she has made a decision. Even though she hasn't started working on it, having a plan makes her feel better. This shows that when we have a problem, it's essential to notice it, think about it, explore different solutions, make a decision, and then take action. Once we do that, our minds can relax, and we stop worrying so much about the problem. Let's talk about handling scary parts in movies as an example. My daughter, who is 6 years old, often gets scared during intense scenes in movies, even in Disney ones. For instance, in The Lion King, there is a sad and frightening part where Mufasa dies during a stampede. At this point, my daughter wants to stop watching because it's too upsetting for her. She starts thinking that all Disney movies are sad and scary because we usually stop watching at the tough part. If we continued watching the movie for another 10 minutes, things would get better. The movie would show happier scenes like the Hakuna Matata part, where characters face their fears and solve their problems, leading to a happy ending. This situation is similar to how some people deal with traumatic experiences. Sometimes thinking about a bad experience can be very overwhelming, making it hard to move past the scary feelings. Just like stopping a movie at the scary part, some people might avoid thinking about a hard experience because it makes them very upset. This makes it difficult for them to feel better, because they're stuck in the hardest part of their memory without moving forward to a happier ending. So in both situations, whether it's watching a movie or thinking about a tough time, it's important to try to get through the difficult parts. This way, we can reach the happier moments and start to feel better and heal. It might not be easy, but it can help us move on and not stay stuck in the sad or scary feelings. People who have experienced difficult times might find it hard to heal if they keep thinking only about the tough parts of their experiences. Let me explain this in a simpler way. Imagine you're trying to solve a puzzle, but you get stuck on one part and keep doing the same piece over and over again. You won't be able to finish the puzzle that way, right? It's the same with getting through tough experiences. If we only focus on the hardest parts, it makes it difficult to move on and feel better. Thank you for sticking with me so far. I hope what I'm saying is clear. A way to move past this is by learning to calm our minds and bodies while we think about these tough times. Think about it like taking a big problem and breaking it into smaller, easier pieces. This way you don't feel too overwhelmed and can handle it better. When your body is calm, your mind can think more clearly. This helps in moving past the tough part and finding a solution or peace. Now let's talk about another thing that makes it hard for people to move past their feelings, which is having strong beliefs that hold you back. These beliefs are like automatic reactions that pop up in our minds during certain situations. They act like labels or stickers that we put on ourselves or others without even realizing it. These labels can block us from seeing the situation clearly and understanding our feelings better. So, it's important to notice these labels and try to understand whether they are helping us or making things more difficult. Sometimes people feel stuck in a cycle of blame. where they constantly think about who or what caused their problems. This makes it hard to move forward. Let's think of it like being in a loop, going around and around without finding an exit. To break free from this loop, recognizing our own responsibilities and learning forgiveness is essential. Imagine if our minds are like running tracks. For someone facing issues like ADD, attention deficit disorder, or other processing challenges, one part of their brain might be running faster than the other. This makes it tough to manage and understand their emotions fully. It's like having one runner who is much faster than the other in a relay race, making the team out of sync. To manage this, slowing down and organizing our thoughts is very helpful. Think of it as slowing down the fast runner so that the other one can catch up, allowing them to work together effectively. Writing down problems or using diagrams like in a whiteboard can make our issues clearer and simpler. This way, our brains can process emotions better, like having all runners in a relay race in sync, ensuring the team performs well. Remember, having processing differences like ADD doesn't mean one is not intelligent. It just means they might need different strategies to manage their emotions and thoughts effectively. So by slowing down and organizing our thoughts, we can make the emotional processing easier and more manageable. Different brain types number 8 is about understanding that different brains work in unique ways. Let's consider OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, as an example. In a typical brain, if a person feels their hands are dirty, washing them brings a sense of relief. It feels like the problem is solved. But for someone with OCD, it's different. After washing their hands, they might feel okay for a little while, but worry quickly comes back, making it seem like washing didn't really help at all. So some brains find it tougher to feel completely okay and resolved. What can we do about this? Well, there are special strategies and skills that can be helpful. For instance, there are techniques like exposure response prevention and cognitive diffusion that we will discuss later. Getting unstuck. When feelings are confusing and everything seems tangled up, it can be good to get advice from someone else, like a therapist, a caring friend, or a family member. Sometimes another person can see our situation more clearly and offer helpful advice. They might show us different ways to think about our problems that we hadn't seen before. Self-check for thinking mistakes. Another useful thing to do is to learn how to recognize when our thoughts might be tripping us up. Sometimes our minds jump to conclusions or see things in a way that's not very helpful. By learning to spot these thinking errors, we can try to swap them out for thoughts that are more positive and helpful. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Help the People Now channel. I really hope you found this discussion helpful and enlightening. If you enjoyed the video and found it valuable, please hit the subscribe button below. This way you won't miss out on any upcoming content designed to help and support you. Also, I would love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Please leave a comment below, sharing what you thought of today's topic, or if there's something specific you'd like us to cover in a future video. Your input is super important, and it helps guide the content we create for you. Make sure to watch our next video, where we'll continue to dive deeper, exploring more strategies and ideas to empower you in overcoming life's challenges. Remember, this channel is all about supporting and helping each other, so let's grow this compassionate community together. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.